Hello, welcome to another tonalist landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy. And the painting I'm bringing you today is called Ochre Glow. And I did this one last week. Maybe a little late with my video this week. Sometimes it happens. You know what, I have a backlog of stuff. I'd love to put up 2 and 3 videos a week, but it seems to mess with the previous video if I put one up. I like to give every painting a chance, so that's my strategy, I guess. Anyway, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it, and I hope you get something out of this video. So what are we doing today? It's not monotone, it's not a duotone. It's somebody who was maybe properly educated in the ways of color theory could tell you what sort of painting this is. I can't tell you that, but what I can tell you is, if you know what the color wheel is, if you don't, just go into a Google image or something and pull up, type in color wheel, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. We're only working in a portion of the color wheel. We're not working with we're in these yellows, moving into browns, into some reddishness. Usually when I set up sort of a kind of a brief for something like this, I'll decide, well, how red do I want the browns to go? How green? In this painting, I wanted to tilt slightly more towards that greenish feel. Yeah. I've just done one recently, which I'm going to have to go in and do a little more work yesterday, that was like this too, but it was a little more towards the reddish. And it could be really cool, because what are we using out of my 17 colors on my palette? I'm probably using 5 or 6. Let's see if I can tell you what I used on this. I know I used yellow ochre, brown ochre, burnt umber, raw umber, cad yellow, white, probably that titanium buff as well. That's a time saver. Black, obviously. And actually even the perylene black / green would have been a factor in this drawing stage you see now. It's in there modifying the burn umber, so it's a little more neutral, And that was it. I'm not... Oh, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bit of cad orange involved. I don't think I got in any cad red, but a lot of times I use cadmium orange. It's very helpful on the palette for adjusting things like... well, not to talk about a painting that we're not looking at, but the one I did yesterday, I had instances where I would maybe lighten things with some white, which would apply to almost any painting you're doing. And what you'll see is that when you add the white, you lose chroma. It actually desaturates and lightens. It doesn't just lighten. So a lot of times I have workarounds for that. Like, I'll tell you, it's one of my big people in the members area. Hear it all the time when I'm bringing, which members area, by the way, you got this video, I think it's 2 hours long, something like that. Real time, real tips, real tricks in real time, 4K, no ads, etc. Anyway, the great thing about that is while I'm painting, you hear me burbling on, not every second, but there's knowledge being dropped. And one of the main things I'm always hitting on is when you bring in a bit of white. I love you too. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. This is a good tip. When you bring in your white, you bring it in with a little bit of another color. Always do that, okay? That'll adjust for that. Your paintings will have less of that chalkiness factor. So if it's a light color, maybe you bring in the white with a little touch of cad yellow. That's real common for me to do. In some of these areas where it's maybe more of a middle tone, I might bring in a little not overly light, but still I've hit with that white and it's chalking up. A little bit of orange can go a long ways, because these cadmiums are just packed with chroma. That's why I have them on my palette, because they're so useful in that regard. Small amounts have a big impact and go a long ways towards solving painting problems that arise. Anyway, you can see we're working on my my typical hard board, which has been prepped with 2 coats of transparent gesso. Underpainting color, like I mentioned a minute ago, mostly burnt umber, but I got that perylene black in there, which is a greenish black. And what I like about that too, it gives me a little more room. Like if I come in as I do in a moment with darker black, which is a lamp black, uh, I can get a little darker. Which is it's good to have that ability. This painting is kind of abstracty. It's based on a photo I came across. Hopefully, photographer, you don't mind. I just, was inspired to make a quick little painting, and I like to do these sorts of things. Oh, the other thing I want to point out, you see that? Maybe it's not this brush. It might have been the brush I was using a minute ago. It's about a 1 inch wide, super cheap Dosh. Dosh. No, I haven't been drinking. It's lunchtime. DOS brush. What's this? The book. Hey, got some nice orders for the book this week. You'll love the book if you get it. It's $60 US. A lot of that goes towards shipping it to you from basically the rear end of the planet here. But I don't mind. I make a few bucks, and it's getting out all over the world. It's so thrilling, all the different places it's got. So check it out if you don't have it. You'll like it. That's one place where you can find all the things I'm burbling on about. Each video I kind of take on a thing here or an idea that hits my mind. I don't really have a script. You're like, yeah, Mike, we know. We know you don't have a script. But hey, worst case, just watch the painting happen. That's where it's at. It's not so much the rhetoric. So I like to I do my drawing stage. I was maybe sitting there. I don't. It could be done the same day too. I like to then go in and get my lights in. What in this painting what represents the sky, so to speak. I get that in. I get the sky in. If you see, it's more of a more landscapey with a big sky and trees or water or any of that. You see, you want to get that sky in there first because it's behind everything else. So if you start plopping it on top of things, it can look kind of just not as good. And then you'll see in a minute we're gonna go in and restate those darkest areas and try not to go too far. This is a thing. It's like the great thing about the underpainting is it allows you to figure things out with basically, in essence, is one color. You can eke out a few more tones by thinning it with the oil. I use a medium called Archival Oils brand Odorless Lean. It's been a while since I had a question on that, but that used to be a real common question in the old days. And what medium you use is up to you, but I think the best mediums are, you want one that gives you a little more movement with the paint, that's not overly expensive. I started out with Liquin. I did try the Gamblin, I forget what it's called. I didn't like it. It seemed to have like weird effects. I do like Liquid, but when I moved into the Archival Oils brand because it basically acts just like linseed oil would, except it dries quickly, which is handy. Yeah. Anyway, the other brief on this painting was just, it's a little bit abstracty, so I just wanted to be loose and expressive with my brushwork. I don't want to get all pedantic. Basically, what I'm painting is a light effect. That was the theme of the original photo, and that's definitely the theme of my painting. And I'm not making a slavish copy of the photo. I'm just using it as inspiration to put together a painting, and which is really should be your approach as well. If you're painting from photos, there's a lot of ways to make really bad paintings from photos. I'll give you a few tips. I mean, I've talked about this over and over on the channel, but we're always getting new people. And I honestly, need to hear this again myself from time to time. Okay, the photo is going to have, the camera captures everything. It's got a mechanical way of seeing, right? So, but we as humans don't see that way. We hone in on things that catch our interest. We filter out most things that we see. And I'm not a scientist. I'm not going to get into the physics of all this stuff, but it is a fact that we do that. So you as a painter, you really don't want to put superfluous or extra detail or points of interest in your painting. You want to have a focus, and you want to have a feeling. And if it's the focus and the feeling you're going for, you need to subordinate anything that doesn't support that or complement it in your work. Okay, so this is why when you're using a photo reference, you want to eliminate a huge amount of the detail from the reference. And trust me, I mean, I was really into detail when I was younger, and in my illustration career, I was priding myself on tons of detail in my work. But you know, the detail can be very distracting, especially in an oil painting. It's not where you want to go. Maybe that's part of your style, and if it is, you know, then that's great, and you're probably making it work and making some awesome stuff. But for the kind of thing I'm doing, you really want to subordinate detail, not completely. You know, you want to pull some things in. You want to have a feeling for what's important and what's not, and that gets based on intuition and inspiration and experience. And you cannot control the intuition. You can set up your life so inspiration is pretty prevalent. It's hitting you when you work pretty frequently. But experience you have to accrue by actually doing the work, in this case painting. And I was just telling a good mate of mine, it can be very frustrating, old painting. It's an awesome use of time. It's one of the most fulfilling ways I can think of to spend time. But it can be very frustrating to be, especially if you're, you know, usually have done some good work, you know, and you expect that, oh, I've done this here. You sat down, you just did a really good painting, and you're so proud, you're so happy. You're going to show your mom, and she loves it too, you know. And then next day, sit down and do a painting, and whoa, what happened? It's not, that one's not good. What is it? Well, one thing, I was talking about this in the members area this week, you know, as I was doing the painting. Oh, this is a pretty good example. There's a pretty interesting photo I based this painting on. This is a bit different from that photo, but you can see the photo reference in the members area. That's another great thing about the members area. But, you know, your reference, like, not, you know, you might have a whole folder full of pictures that you think would make awesome paintings, but I can tell you that only a few of those are really amazing on their own. You know, most photo references are going to have to be really changed up a bit to be the thing that generates a great painting. You know, it's totally possible, totally doable, but you need to remember that the photo is just the inspiration, just the spark, and then whatever's happening once you start painting on the surface of that board, that's where it's at. That's where it's about. It ain't that photo. And that's why I recommend for, especially, say, you know, you got less than 100 paintings under your belt. Here you go. You know, start your painting with that photo reference, and then when you're about halfway through, put it away. Just put it away. You probably already have got everything from that photo that you need, and from that point, you'll be really busy focusing on what you can do to make the painting great, and that's where it's at. That's what's going on. You're making a painting, you know. Trust me, this is some really good tip. A lot of good tips in this video. So, you know, I try, you know, and I appreciate you coming around here, and hopefully you enjoyed watching me put this together. It's going to be for sale in my store. It's not going to be super expensive. You know, if you want to support me, hey, leave me a comment. I really like that. If you have some financial wherewithal and you get some value from what I'm doing here, you can donate on my website. You can leave me one of these big fat thank yous here on YouTube. Donation on the website, though, that all goes to me. Here, Google, take a chunk of that. Thank you, but that's fine. Whatever you want to do. If you're inspired, you just click that, and they'll send some money my way. The money's good because, you know, you know. Anyway, thanks for coming to watch my video and taking the time. I know there's a ton of stuff to watch, so I really appreciate that. And until they come back with another video for your edification and enjoyment, do me a favor, do me a solid. Take good care of yourself, your family, all your loved ones. Stay out of trouble, and God bless you and your family.